If you're not this kind of man, she'll never respect you. No matter how much you love her, you could give her your time, your money, your loyalty. You could move mountains for her, sacrifice everything for her comfort, even put your purpose on hold. And still, she'll look past you like you're invisible. Not because you're not good, but because you're not who she truly respects. There's a kind of man women dream about, obsess over, and chase when no one's watching. It's not the overgiver, not the people pleaser, not the one texting her good morning paragraphs. It's the man who owns himself, fully, relentlessly, unapologetically. That man doesn't chase validation. He doesn't wait around hoping she'll choose him. He knows what he brings, and he never begs to prove it. He doesn't need her to see his value because he already does. And you're tired of playing the games. You're tired of giving everything and getting nothing back. You're tired of her switching up, pulling away, and leaving you in confusion. That ends today. Comment, "I reclaim my power," if you're ready to become the man every woman respects. Number 1. The high-value man. A high-value man is not built in the spotlight. He is not built through applause or attention or women begging to be with him. He is built in quiet moments of decision, in private battles nobody sees, when he chooses discipline over distraction, principle over pleasure, structure over chaos. You see, most men today are distracted, weak, and overstimulated. They are addicted to quick wins, instant approval, and soft comfort. They scroll endlessly. They seek validation in DMs. They lower their standards just to not be alone. They think being available makes them desirable. It doesn't. It makes them replaceable. They give compliments before earning interest. They ask to be chosen instead of becoming someone worth choosing. They confuse kindness for value, but women are not attracted to men who make them feel in control. They are attracted to men they cannot predict, cannot influence, cannot manipulate. And you, watching this, you know that pain. You know the silence after you give her everything and she still pulls away. You know the feeling of sending a long message only to get one-word replies. You know the ache of being her therapist, her cheerleader, her emotional cushion, and yet never her desire. This is where the high-value man separates. He does not chase what pulls away. He does not explain his standards. He does not compromise his code to earn temporary closeness. He stands rooted, not because he wants to dominate her, but because he refuses to abandon himself for her validation. He wakes up with intention. He has a plan for his day, a vision for his week, a target for his life. He doesn't wait for the world to hand him a role. He writes his own script. And when he meets a woman, he sees her as a complement, not a cure. She does not complete him. She joins a life already full. The problem with most men is they make her the goal. She becomes the purpose, the obsession, the source of identity. And that dependency is repulsive to her core. A high-value man, however, understands this. She respects the man who walks away from comfort to chase meaning. She respects the man who doesn't flinch under pressure, who doesn't fold under emotion. She respects the man who doesn't lose himself trying to hold her. Now listen carefully. This man is not rude, cold, or detached. He is present, grounded, aware, but his energy is measured, not desperate. His presence is felt because it is earned, not begged for. He communicates with clarity. He doesn't try to convince her to stay. He lets her feel the weight of his absence if she cannot appreciate his presence. To become this man, you must stop looking outward for approval and start looking inward for alignment. When you wake up, stop asking, "Does she like me?" and start asking, "Did I conquer myself today?" Did you rise when you wanted to sleep? Did you train when your body screamed no? Did you say no when temptation called? Did you walk away from what disrespected you without a second thought? That's how you build self-trust. And when you trust yourself, your energy shifts. You no longer need her to believe in you because you already do. When you become the man who holds himself to a code higher than attraction, you become the man who naturally attracts. Not just women, but opportunities, loyalty, respect. Every time you delay gratification, every time you choose stillness over reaction, every time you stick to your word, even when nobody is watching, you build value, real value, unshakable value. And suddenly, the woman who used to pull away starts to lean in. Not because you chased her, but because you finally stopped chasing her. You chased your calling instead. You chased strength, wisdom, peace, focus. You stopped being the man who trades self-respect for affection. So start today. Audit your routines. Cut out distractions. Commit to your word. Walk in rooms like you belong. Speak only when necessary. Become so disciplined that chaos avoids you. Be so aligned that disrespect confuses you. Be so rare that she doesn't just want you. She has to grow to deserve you. Because in the end, she only respects the man who respects himself first. And the world steps aside for the man who refuses to step down from his own standards. And if you're ready to live by a code that doesn't change for anyone, you need more than just motivation. You need a blueprint. That's why the Stoic relationship blueprint exists. It's not just a book, it's a mirror, a weapon, and a guide. Filled with timeless principles that reshape your mindset, your confidence, and your direction, this book is now available in audiobook format, so you can absorb its life-changing wisdom while walking, training, or even just clearing your head. Ask yourself, what would change if you had 24/7 access to a proven path? What would life feel like if you stopped guessing and started knowing? This book becomes yours for life. No games, just powerful, unfiltered truths you can revisit whenever you need it most. The link is in the comments. Start listening today and never walk confused ever again. Number 2. The man who walks away. The man who walks away is not cold. He is clear. He is not heartless. He is honest. He doesn't leave because he doesn't care. He leaves because he cares too much about his own peace, his own standards, and his own future to stay somewhere that chips away at his worth. The truth is, most men are terrified of walking away. They are terrified of what it will mean to finally let go of her, to accept that no matter how much effort they give, how many nights they stay up trying to understand her silence, or how many times they forgive blatant disrespect, nothing they do will ever be enough. Not because they aren't enough, but because they've been trying to prove their value to someone who already decided to ignore it. You sit there thinking if you stay a little longer, if you love a little harder, maybe she'll change. But she won't, because she doesn't have to. You've shown her that your line can be moved, your boundaries can be bent, your worth can be debated, and so she pushes further, tests harder, disrespects deeper, just to see how much you're willing to lose to keep her. And for most men, the answer is everything. Their self-worth, their pride, their peace, even their future. They pour into a black hole and wonder why they're always empty. The man who walks away is the one who finally understands the game. He understands that women don't love the man who bends. Women desire the man who doesn't. The man who draws the line and enforces it. The man who won't negotiate with disrespect. The man who doesn't flinch when she pulls away because he isn't afraid to let her go. He isn't addicted to her approval because he's addicted to self-respect. And that scares her. It shakes her. Because most men fold under pressure. Most men beg when she withdraws. Most men stay even when they're treated like options. But not him. He knows exactly who he is and what he deserves, and he'd rather be alone in peace than together in chaos. He understands that love without respect is manipulation, and intimacy without boundaries is slavery. So when she starts weaponizing affection, when she starts making him earn what should be freely given, when she starts taking and giving nothing, he doesn't argue, he doesn't explain, he leaves, not in anger, but in truth, because his love doesn't come with conditions, but it does come with standards, and when those are violated, he doesn't need closure. His closure is in his decision, his power is in his walk, because the man who walks away forces her to face herself. He removes the mirror of validation and leaves her with the silence of consequence, and that's when the dynamic shifts, when she realizes he's not like the rest, that she can't pull the same tricks, can't get the same reactions, can't toy with his emotions the way she does with others, because he values himself more than he desires her. And that's what makes him unforgettable. It's not about punishing her, it's about preserving himself. And when he walks, he doesn't look back, because he knows what it cost him to stay, and he refuses to pay that price again. He doesn't come back when she starts acting right, because he understands that true change is not prompted by loss, but by awareness. And if she needed to lose him to realize his worth, then she never deserved him in the first place. The man who walks away is a rare force in a world of desperate clingers. He doesn't chase, he attracts. He doesn't beg, he builds. He doesn't wait to be chosen, he chooses. And every day he wakes up committed not to her, but to the vision of the man he's becoming. That's his priority, his code, his compass. So if you're sitting in a situation where you feel disrespected, overlooked, used, understand this: staying longer will not fix it. Loving harder will not heal it. Explaining more will not change it. Only one thing will reclaim your dignity: leaving, walking, cutting the cord and reclaiming your life. It will hurt. You will miss her. You will replay every moment in your head. But over time, clarity will replace confusion, strength will replace weakness, and peace will replace pain. And when she realizes you're truly gone, when she reaches out, when she comes crawling back, you won't even feel the urge to respond. Not out of spite, but because you've grown beyond the version of yourself who needed her. That's the reward of walking away. You don't just gain distance from her, you gain closeness with yourself. So if you want to be that man, start now. Make a decision. Not an emotional one, a logical one. Measure the respect you've received, the effort she's shown, the peace you've lost. And if it doesn't add up, then neither should you. Walk, not with rage, not with drama, with quiet power, with certainty. Because in the end, the man who walks away doesn't lose the woman, he finds himself. And that will always be the greatest gain of all. Number 3, the man with a mission. The man with a mission lives differently, breathes differently, and moves differently because he is not driven by approval, distraction, or the emotional waves of others. He is driven by a purpose greater than comfort, a fire that cannot be extinguished by rejection or loneliness or even temporary failure, because he knows that comfort is the enemy of greatness, and his value is built through pain, through struggle, through the battle between what's easy and what's necessary. Most men have no mission, no center, no aim. They wake up scrolling, they react to life, they adapt to women, and they chase feelings instead of legacy. A man without a mission is a man lost in the opinions of others, and when a man doesn't know where he's going, anyone can lead him, including the wrong woman. That's why she doesn't respect him, because she can feel that his center isn't real, because she senses he would drop everything to chase her instead of chase what he's called to build. He becomes emotionally volatile, dependent, restless. He texts too much, checks her stories, waits for her replies like his identity depends on it. And that's not attractive. It's exhausting. She doesn't want to be your world. She wants to orbit a man whose world is already in motion, whose direction is unshakable. A man with a mission doesn't ask if she likes him. He asks if she aligns with where he's going. He doesn't make room for distractions. He has a schedule, a routine, a goal that wakes him up when he's tired and keeps him grounded when temptation whispers. That mission makes him magnetic, not because he's trying to be attractive, but because he's fully immersed in something meaningful. When a man knows his path, his energy shifts. He speaks with weight. He moves with confidence. His time becomes scarce, and his presence becomes powerful. That's what draws her in, not the man who needs her to feel alive, but the man who is already fully alive without her. If you're drifting, if your life feels hollow, if you keep attaching yourself to women hoping they'll give you meaning, stop. You need to unplug from the noise and define the mission. What are you here to build? What skill will outlast your emotions? What vision are you willing to suffer for? That's the work. That's the compass. And when you find it, everything changes. You stop overthinking her distance. You stop chasing validation. You stop tolerating nonsense. Because your mind is occupied with something greater. Your life starts to speak for you. Your results begin to whisper louder than your words. You're not posting to impress. You're building in silence. You're not rushing into relationships. You're protecting your focus. You're not seeking peace from her. You're creating peace through your actions, your progress, your consistency. Every hour spent grinding is an hour your future self will thank you for. Every distraction you eliminate becomes an edge. Every day you choose the mission over the comfort zone, you become more unshakable. Women can feel this. They can feel when your attention is earned, not given. They respect the man who is willing to leave the conversation to chase a deadline. They admire the man who doesn't get emotional over her games because he has deadlines, not drama. If she becomes distant, he doesn't panic. He uses the time to build. If she starts testing him, he doesn't react. He lets his absence speak. The man with a mission doesn't beg for connection. He inspires it through who he becomes. And ironically, it's the man who is least available who becomes most desired. Not because he's playing games, but because he has something more important than games, a purpose. If you've been wasting time, stuck in cycles, chasing the wrong things, it's time to choose discipline. Pick a path, study a craft, build a body of work, turn pain into focus, heartbreak into hunger. Make your schedule so full that you don't have time to chase. Replace wishful thinking with practical structure. Wake up early. Set non-negotiables. Read, train, execute. Track your habits. Define your values. Become so consumed with growth that you forget to care about who's not texting back. That's how the man with a mission is born. Not by luck, not by emotion, but by ruthless clarity and unwavering discipline. He doesn't wait to feel ready. He acts. He fails forward. He knows who he is, what he's doing, and why he's doing it. And that kind of man, he doesn't need a woman to respect him. She does it automatically. Not because he demands it, but because she can't ignore it. His presence speaks before his words. His progress silences her doubts. His consistency destroys her manipulations. And if she can't handle that kind of focus, she fades. And he doesn't chase. Because he's not living for her, he's living for legacy. He's not here to be understood, he's here to produce. His currency is execution, his language is discipline, his relationships are secondary, not central. That's the man with a mission, and the moment you become him, everything begins to shift. Number 4, the unmoved man. The unmoved man does not react. He responds. He does not explain. He embodies. He is not unbothered because he feels nothing. He is unbothered because he has learned to master what he feels without letting it master him. He understands that the moment he gives his emotional control to anyone, especially a woman who tests him constantly for weakness, he loses the one thing that makes him powerful: composure. In today's world, men are raised to over-apologize, over-express, and over-explain to avoid tension. But every time you speak out of emotional urgency, you pay with your dignity. The unmoved man watches, he studies, he calculates, not because he's afraid to act, but because he chooses not to act out of impulse. He knows that every dramatic outburst, every desperate attempt to prove his worth, every emotional explosion in response to her games, only weakens his frame. He does not get pulled into her mood swings because he has his own weather. She storms, he stays calm. She accuses, he remains still. She tests, he observes. This doesn't make him cold, it makes him powerful. And power is what commands respect, not affection. In a world where most men lose their sense of self in moments of high emotion, the unmoved man becomes rare. He is the one she can't manipulate, the one she can't control with distance, the one she can't shift with games. He does not flinch when she pulls back because his mind is still. He doesn't chase after silence because his heart is grounded. When she cries, he listens. When she yells, he looks. When she withdraws, he continues. Because he does not negotiate with chaos, he governs himself, and in doing so, governs the dynamic. You've been there before, caught in a loop of arguing, explaining, chasing. You've raised your voice, you've typed paragraphs, you've begged her to just understand where you're coming from. And in doing so, you watched her respect evaporate. You thought vulnerability would bring you closer, but all it did was show her your lack of control, because she wasn't testing your feelings, she was testing your strength. She was pushing to see if you'd fall apart. And most men do. But the unmoved man doesn't fall. He doesn't bend. He may feel, but he never folds. He knows that respect is built not in comfort, but in conflict. And every time he remains firm while the world screams around him, he builds unshakable weight. He doesn't react to petty provocations. He doesn't feel the need to correct every misjudgment. He lets his results speak, lets his silence sting, and lets his presence set the tone. That presence becomes undeniable because it is never desperate. Women are drawn to it, not because it coddles them, but because it centers them. They feel more stable around him because he is stable within. If you want to become the unmoved man, start with silence. Not passive silence, but active presence. Let your stillness speak before your words ever do. In conflict, lower your tone. In misunderstanding, slow your breathing. Don't chase clarity, embody it. When tested, don't argue, stand still. Let her feel the weight of your discipline. Let her experience the difference between emotional chaos and structured presence. She'll push harder, not because she's cruel, but because she needs to know she's with a man she can trust to lead, even when things get emotional. The unmoved man does not suppress his emotions, he integrates them. He feels deeply but expresses strategically. He chooses his moments. He doesn't give everyone access to his reactions. He knows that power is not about always being calm. It's about never being rattled. And when you move like this, when you live like this, your life transforms. You no longer get caught in petty debates. You no longer need to defend every boundary. You stop trying to convince anyone of your worth. Because your energy starts to carry evidence. Your reputation grows in silence. And the woman who once took your presence for granted begins to study your distance. Not because you left her, but because you stopped being emotionally available to chaos. That's the difference. The unmoved man doesn't run from women. He simply refuses to lose himself in trying to keep them. And when they feel that kind of balance, that kind of calm dominance, they either rise to meet him or fall away. He doesn't force outcomes. He aligns with truth. That's his weapon, that's his edge, that's his path. And if you want to become him, you need to stop letting temporary emotions destroy permanent respect. Practice restraint, practice control, practice silence. Be unmoved, not because you don't care, but because you care too much to react like the rest. Number 5. The rare man. The rare man is rare for one reason. He refuses to be what the world tries to mold him into. He doesn't shrink to fit in. He doesn't conform to please. He doesn't apologize for standing out, because he knows that value only exists in what is scarce, and scarcity is not an accident. It is a decision. It is a discipline. It is a daily refusal to be everywhere, with everyone, doing everything, just to be seen as agreeable. He's not rare because he's special. He's rare because he's deliberate. In a world of constant noise, constant exposure, and constant seeking of attention, he becomes more powerful by disappearing from where he's not respected. He doesn't broadcast every move, he doesn't chase recognition, and he doesn't fight to prove his worth to those who ignore it. He builds, he sharpens, he becomes better silently, and the more he withdraws from the desperate need for validation, the more he creates curiosity, mystique, and demand around his presence. The rare man is not available to everyone. He doesn't comment on every post. He doesn't respond to every message. He doesn't feel the need to reply fast, show up often, or prove he's loyal through accessibility. His time is expensive because his life is full, not full of distractions, but full of purpose. And that's why women can't forget him, because he's the exception to what they're used to. They're used to men trying to impress them, chasing them, flooding their inbox with praise. But the rare man is silent, not out of disinterest, but because his focus is somewhere higher. He's not trying to be different, he just is. Because while everyone else is performing, he's practicing. While they're showing off, he's showing up. While they're reacting to her beauty, he's refining his discipline. And that contrast makes him unforgettable. When you become rare, you don't have to beg for interest. You become the gravitational force. Your life becomes the magnet. Your boundaries become the filter. The woman you used to chase now studies you. She tries to understand why you don't react the way others do, why you don't flatter, why you don't fold, why you don't fall over her just because she's beautiful. And the answer is simple. You've seen enough to know beauty isn't rare, but substance is. The rare man chooses peace over chaos, purpose over validation, and solitude over popularity. And that's why he's respected, not just by women, but by men who see him move and wonder what makes him different. He doesn't speak often, but when he does, his words land heavy. He doesn't show off, but when he walks in, he changes the energy. And this isn't because he's trying to be mysterious, it's because he's rooted in self-worth, rooted in clarity, rooted in direction. If you want to become rare, start by removing yourself from places where you are not valued. Don't explain, don't announce, just exit. Reduce your digital exposure, guard your schedule. Stop giving your attention to people who have done nothing to earn it. Audit your circle. If they drain your energy, remove them. If they waste your time, distance yourself. You're not arrogant, you're aware. You're not cold, you're clear. And in that clarity, you begin to rise. Not in noise, but in power. You become so rare that she doesn't know how to access you anymore. You become so focused that she starts to chase the access she once took for granted. That's the result of becoming rare. Not just getting attention, but commanding a different type of respect. You no longer chase, because you understand that scarcity creates value. You no longer explain, because you've built a life that speaks for itself. And when you live like that, you don't just stand out, you stand above. If you're tired of being overlooked, disrespected, and constantly wondering why you never feel like enough, it's time to stop waiting for things to change and start becoming the kind of man the world has to respect. The Stoic Relationship Blueprint isn't just another ebook, it's the final wake-up call. It's filled with timeless Stoic principles that will realign your mindset, rebuild your confidence, and give you the edge most men never find. And now it's available in audiobook format, so you can carry this power with you while you walk, train, or move through life. No more confusion, no more begging, no more compromise. It's linked in the comments below. If you're ready to break the cycle and rise above it, comment, "I take back my power," like this video, and subscribe to help more men escape years of quiet regret.